I think also you're going to come in with a wholly different point of view because I think all of us started with a problem statement. You started with technology.
No, frankly, technology is to me secondary. First comes the challenge, business challenge. Technology enables and solves those business challenges. So technology, as he correctly mentioned, in isolation, technology means nothing. So, I mean, before even we go there, today if you see, we are making bigger buildings, we are making taller buildings, greener buildings, and we are making it faster. The government pushes towards that. What we understand, some reports I was seeing, 75% of the infrastructure that is required by 2050 doesn't even exist today. So imagine the kind of drive, potential push that this sector is going to see. Now, when that much amount of growth spurt was not there, it was still manageable. But how do you do only through people? Unless you are automating your processes, unless you have controls built in, unless you have the regulatory compliances factored. He also mentioned that getting talent is also not easy. So there are many mundane things also which can actually be done by, like, let's say a chatbot, or maybe some artificial intelligence, and we see those trends happening today. So across the business value chain, whether you talk of acquisition, whether you talk of a customer experience, or whether you talk of, let's say, integrated project management, or a supply chain side, you talk about anything, there is a solution to that problem. It's a different matter that today perhaps we have not reached a very mature stage, but we definitely see a push happening there, and we will be there.
So I think then technology in real estate especially, and we'll start with you and take it forward. Do you think technology has matured enough to understand this diversity that is so inherent to this industry, which probably it hasn't encountered in several other industries that it has helped automate or simplify or, you know, bridge the gaps in information or controls in?
You want me to? Oh, okay. No, so I can tell you from experience, when in my group company we were implementing SAP in 2006, way back in 2006. That was the first of its kind comprehensive SAP ERP implementation in India in the infrastructure construction segment, okay? And there was no precedence. And the challenge that you said just now, we had the same challenge, okay? But I can tell you with a whole lot of conviction that now we have almost 200, 300 customers. And in real estate space, we have done hundreds of implementation. And while there are nuances and the variations are there from customer to customer, there are best practices. Those, in fact, what happens is, that's what I said, it's not about technology. When you implement a solution, you bring the best practice. You don't adopt the technology to meet what you are currently doing in as is. Then you are heading for, duplication of what you are doing with whatever inefficiencies you are doing. Adopt best practices and move to the next level, other best practices. That is what we call. So, and I can tell you that many customers are actually doing automation. ERP can be a core. There are so many surrounding things. We are talking of BIM, we are talking of AI, we are talking of ML, whatever. So obviously, when I tell those, maybe we are in a nascent stage there. But I can tell you with a whole set of conviction that ERP per se, there is a very strong business case today. There are best practices which can be followed.
I agree. Convincing a channel partner, a realtor, to put in data so that 1 year from now it will be useful to him is a tough gig, right? Convincing a vendor, person, a purchase manager in a developer's office to feed the entire data into a SAP or an equivalent ERP system so that his boss is able to get a better view of his business, very difficult. So I think a big barrier in any technology, and that I'm sure technology needs to work on to sort of ease, is how do you convince people to adopt? I was wondering if you had any anecdotal evidence on how you have done it, because SAP is not a very, it feels daunting when someone tells me that we use SAP. I'm like, wow, right? I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of stories. Are there any anecdotes wherein you were able to successfully convince people to change, and it didn't take you 3 years to do that?
No, absolutely. A lot of anecdotes actually. So, but before that, see, it's a transformational journey when you are going for sort of a ERP because it touches across the process chain, right? Earlier we used to work in an isolated environment, something like that. Now they're all interfaced. So I am dependent on you and you are dependent on him or her. So, actually speaking, while one does, I mean, of course, it depends on the partner, but while one implements such a engage or gets into an engagement, there is also a change management engagement which runs in parallel. This is the best practice, okay? So, you merge your change management plan with your actual implementation project plan. So, what do you do in change management? You identify who are the real stakeholders. Once you have finalized the process, you identify how much change it has from the earlier as is process. So, you do organizational impact assessment, what we call an OIA. Then based on those levers, you identify that these are the maximum change. So how do you cater to that change? So then, and you have identified the right people, you have identified which are the change barriers, then you do what we say as ICE, involve, communicate and educate, train, and train. So this is one part of it. Having said that, on your statement of SAP being daunting, yes, it can be, but I can tell you, of course, not marketing SAP per se, but I can tell you over the years, SAP has now moved into a lot of user-friendly interface, Fiori-based interface. So I'll not go technical. Now coming back to the anecdote, see, there are ways and means in which change can be driven. It is a carrot and stick approach, both. So I'll again go back to my own experience. I was a core team member. And we implemented and went live at around 26 project sites. And those project sites, I'll tell you, they were not in metros. They were in places like Uri is the other side of it, hydropower projects and so on and so forth. We had projects near Kargil called Nemo Basgo. There is a hydropower project. And so you can imagine the type of people we would get there and them using SAP. So,
and in 2006.
That is in 2006, yeah? 2006, early 2007. And we actually faced that challenge. We technically went live. And then after a month, we realized that data is not coming up to date. So what to do?
Garbage in.
So either garbage in, so original objective was in-time data, real-time data. So the original, that is quantity. What about quality of data also? That is the second side of it, right? So what we did, our chairman used to call all project managers every quarter for a 2 or 3 day presentation to a project. So we did two things. One is we started rating projects on their SAP health on various parameters. We did a big exercise on their data timeliness, quality of data and all that. And we started broadcasting them. And when this project reviews were happening, we took a 1 hour slot from the manager, CMD. And we presented, my project manager of that time, presented the SAP health of all projects. Imagine all project managers sitting, there is a peer pressure. He is in class A, I am in class B. Next time I want to be in class A. That second pressure is, my chairman is seeing that my project is not an SAP health. So imagine every next quarter when he would or she would come, he would definitely want to be in the A, right? So this is just
public
one example.
Of progress report of
so
progress
peer pressure, public display, so all this, and of course training and all that. So just one of the thoughts. We did a lot of such things.
I'm sure. But see.
Yeah, maintaining the timing game. Thank you.